G'day everyone, it's SDS Supercoach, providing Supercoach content for you. I'm here to present like a top 8, just predicting who I think will be the top 8 defenders, top 8 forwards, and like top 10 midfielders for the rest of the season. Just a bit of a prediction video. So if you guys are looking out to do any certain upgrades, then this is just my opinion or what I think will be the top 8 defenders, mids, forwards, yada, 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 for the rest of the season. So, yeah, look, I just did it on a tier list. So I was going to make like a whole PowerPoint about it. It's just, not worth it. So I just did it on a tier list. I'm pretty sure George did it earlier in the year. So I'm just going to predict who I think are going to be scoring most for the rest of the season. And I might show you my FPL team as well. As I said, I'm no sorry, I haven't said it, but sorry. As I haven't said, I am no expert with FPL. If you want to listen to, a Supercoach content creator with FPL knowledge, like a heap of FPL knowledge, then you go and listen to Eno. He came second in Australia or something ridiculous like that. It was just absolutely insane. I came 113 thousandth in the world. So, he's got a lot more insight onto what to do and all that. If I end up with a half decent rank in FPL, then maybe I might actually start making content for it. But yeah, anyway, look, this is going to be my last video until the round review. So I may as well just quickly show you who I think my trade plans, captain, vice captain, etc. No trades for me this week for the first time since about round 2. So that's quite interesting, but I'm not making any trades. So I was tempted with trading shorter crips, but I'm going to give them another week, see what the go is. Got a bit of money to work with, and I'll just reassess when the time comes. Captain and vice captain, as you can see, vice captain on 2 kill against Richmond, whose midfield is, I don't think, is the greatest. And then you got Lockie Neal, who's got a terrific recent record against the Bombers, and Essendon don't seem to tag. So, let's get straight into it. So, look, I'll quickly start off with the rucks because there wasn't any tier list for a ruck. I think for the rest of the season, I think Gawn is going to be the number 1 ruck, I think. Oh, Melbourne's run's a bit tricky. Look, I'll just tier them. I actually don't know. It could go either way. But I think Darcy and Gawn are going to be the top 2 scoring rucks for the rest of the year. Then the tier below will be like Witts and Nankervis. And then under that, I don't think it really matters. You should be targeting and hoping to have those 2 of those 4 rucks in your side at this point in the season. So that's just my prediction with the rucks. I don't think the rest matter. I think those are the 4 most relevant rucks to worry about. Okay, let's get into the defenders. I've actually already done this. So, wait, have I actually missed someone? I thought I did everyone. Oh, my bad. Lockie Whitfield's here. Look, I'll just put him here. All right. So as you can see, I've already done this. It won't be a super long video. So I'll just talk quickly about each player. I still think Sicily's going to be the highest scoring defender for the rest of the season. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I think any conditions suit him. I don't think he'll play lockdown defence that much. I think it's just too important for Hawthorn to play a variety of different roles. But I think Hawthorn are at their best when he's free-flowing down back a bit more so. Jordan Dawson, my only knock on him is that I'm worried that Matthew Nicks is going to throw the magnet around with him a bit. He's just like wherever there's a weakness in their game plan, they just throw Jordan Dawson there and hope for the best. Like, I think his ceiling is capped when they just throw him forward or something ridiculous like that. We know Hawthorn aren't going to do anything like that with Sicily. So I think Dawson's a bit of a, might just drop a couple of points based on, just him playing some wacky roles. Tom Stewart, when he comes back, look, he's not going to be top 8 from here until the rest of the season because obviously he's not going to play enough games. But I do think when he comes back, he will go back to finish with some really high scores. I think they've got West Coast in the last game of the season. They they've got some piss easy matches for the rest of the year. Some piss easy games where he can go crazy in scoring. I don't remember exactly the games, but believe me when I say that. Fourth, I've got Jack Sinclair. The only reason he isn't 110 to 114, I think he could get tagged a bit more. It seems like it works when you tag Sinclair. I'm worried more sides will do it, and that might limit his ceiling because, I mean, there might be weeks where he doesn't get tagged and he goes crazy, but there'll be weeks where the sides just tag Sinclair and it really hurts St Kilda. So I think that's what might happen. Bailey Dale's just super consistent. Basically, crisp on steroids in terms of consistency and just staying on the park. So, I think Dale would be a ripper replacement for Short if you're willing to do that this week. It's very tempting, but I'm not going to do it. George Hewitt's dropped off a tad, and I think this will roughly be his range for the rest of the season. I think Carlton's fixtures are a bit rough. I think they've got like Geelong, Brisbane, Melbourne, Collingwood still to play for the rest of the season. So I think that's going to be a bit tricky for the baggers. So I think his score could drop off a bit there. Sam Doherty, maybe this is non-owner bias, but I actually don't think – I think he'll average like 105, 106 for the rest of the season. I don't think he's going to go bonkers. Houston, when he's back from injury, I've still got no idea about his injury. So sorry for the poor knowledge on that. But, I think he'll roughly average around there. He's been somewhat consistent, mainly consistent for the whole season. So Jack Crisp, this is roughly about his range. I think the past couple of weeks has been very disappointing. I think there's a bit on the line here for Crispy, in my opinion, for me this week, because back-to-back pretty poor scores, and we know how consistent he is. So I'm looking for a big response by Crispy this week. But, I think this is roughly his range. I don't think he's a top six defender. Sorry, who am I saying my top six defenders are? 2, 4, 6. Sicily, Dawson, Stewart, Sinclair, Dale, and Hewitt. Rich, I don't know what he's going to look like back from the hammy. I'll just quickly smash the rest of these. Whitfield looks better in that role with Spike, but I think 100 to 104 he could average for the rest of the year. Good cheap target. Aaron Hall, who even knows at this point. Sard, all-Australian contender. I think he's a very important player for Carlton. And look, the rest here we don't really need to talk about. How good's Nick Dacos been recently, though? He's just been outstanding. That was actually a pretty poor trade out, turning out to be. I traded him out the week before he started going berserk at on Queen's birthday. So that was a bad trade for me with Dacos. He would have been terrific cover instead of maybe McCartan, but oh well. And the main talking point here is Jaden Short. I think if he continues this role, and I don't think there's any reason why he wouldn't stop this role, he's gonna score under 95 for the rest, average 95, under 95 for the rest of the season. So that's my big call, and that's why I'd be so eager to trade him out, and along with Cripps. You'll see that a bit later. I think I'll do the forwards next. That's just my opinion, fellas. Okay, so down to the forwards. So we've got Bontempelli, and also this is in order. Except, you can probably ignore where there's a players in a bunch of different, in one specific category, like further down. Like I just don't really care that much. But Bontempelli, I think he'll score 110 plus and be F1 for the rest of the season. I know he's playing a little bit injured, but he's just so important for the Dogs, and I think he'll have a stellar end to the season as they try to push for finals. Tim English, I thought he was clear F1 when I picked him up, but he's had a concussion. He's had a couple of niggles here and there, a couple of average scores. So I still think he can average 110 plus, but just not as confident as I thought. Dunkley's going to be solid as ever, 110 plus. He should just make it. Bailey Smith, when he comes back, I still think he's going to score really well. So my top four are all Bulldogs players, and it shows a lot of talent on the side in the team. Sorry, so I think when Baz comes back from his suspension, which I believe is next week, I think they play the Saints next week. I think that's when Bailey Smith is coming back. Cornelio, with this new role with Spike McVeigh, I think he's going to be a terrific scorer for the rest of the season. Luke Parker's still going to be a very solid scorer. I might be a bit generous having him over Libba, but I think when Bailey Smith comes back and all that, I think Libba's score might drop a tad, but maybe non-owner bias there. But Libba's a terrific pick. I'd highly recommend. And Will Brodie, look, I don't think there's anything wrong with the top 8 picks whatsoever, 2, 4, 6, 8. If you can get 6 of them, you're laughing. So it's pretty tough to look. To be honest, I think the top 4's pretty clear. And then I think you can toss up between these last 4 blokes. I've got 3 of them. So Treloar, 100, 104, just depends on his hamstrings and see if that's all good. Taranto, I think he'll play a bit more of a better role at the Giants. He could be on the trade table by the sound of it. Gresham, he's going to be an important cog in that St Kilda midfield if they want to play finals. Isaac Heaney's down to a 90 to 94. Yeah, I just don't like the pick at all. He's going to fail. In my opinion, I don't want to, I don't own Heaney, so I just think he's going to fade as the season progresses. I mean, he's a test this week to play, so see how that goes. But, I think if you can, I'll try my absolute hardest to get him to someone else because at least short, he has some easy matches here and there. With Cripps, there's that upside when Pitternet comes back. But, I'd try to trade Heaney. He plays a terrible role. He's kicking more goals now. But, I just don't like the role at all. And I think he'll age pretty poorly for the rest of the season. In my opinion, maybe famous last words. Tom Hawkins, he's a bit high because he can go so up and down in terms of scoring. He can score 130, but can get like a 40 the following week. Jordan De Goey, I think he'll put in a solid rest of the season performance. But to be honest, I wouldn't touch probably anywhere under Treloar. I'd target these 9 blokes for the rest of the season. Zach Butters, I'm worried when he comes back from injury, he's just not going to be the same and might play a pretty average role. And I don't think we didn't talk about the rest of these players. Jackson now with Gorn back in the side. I don't even know why Sherry's on this. He'll probably average 60 in the VFL for the rest of the season. All right, now we get into the midfield and we have a look at Clayton Oliver. It's hard to see him not go 125 plus for the rest of the year. He's just an outstanding player, should win the Brownlow this year. Lachie Neale, 124 to 120. I think that's pretty realistic. He'll have some games where he scores 160s, other games he might score 100. But he's just going to be pretty reliable just to get to the ton and all that. So, Lachie Neale, pretty comfortable. Could win the Brownlow as well. Rory Laird, maybe a bit high now that I think of it. I actually think I might just put him here. 119 to 115, I think is a bit more realistic for Rory Laird as a scorer. So, but I do think he's the 3rd best midfielder for the rest from here on out. Jack Macrae, I just think with all these Bulldogs players coming back, I think that limits his ceiling. And that's a bit unfortunate. And also, I've got Bontempelli under 100 here because he was already in the other tier list. Tuke Miller, he's going to try his absolute guts out to carry the Suns to the finals. I think it might be a little too late, but we'll see how we go. Jack Steele, he's going to be another proud player that's going to try to carry his side to a finals berth. He's just fantastic, Jack Steele. I think Parrish is going to end the season pretty well. I think the pressure's a bit off for the Bombers. They'll want to prove a point heading into the off-season and look to make a strong impression next year. And I think Parrish will lead the way in the midfield. I've got Brayshaw over Walsh, Petrarca and Mills. Now, this could be owner bias right here. Like, I'm saying, we know how good Petrarca can finish out seasons. Callum Mills is the main man in Sydney's midfield, defence, forward, wherever the horse wants to bloody play him. And Sam Walsh, just a terrific young star. They're both young stars. And but I just think Brayshaw, Freo just looks so good at the minute. And I think they've got somewhat, oh, no, they actually haven't got an easy run home. But he's the main man in the midfield for Fremantle. So while Walsh is competing with a few other blokes, and I think Freo are a better side than Carlton. I think Freo. So I think they'll finish the rest of the season with a bit more pride and all that. Carlton will still make finals and all that, but I just think Brayshaw could outscore these blokes. But I reckon I think I would go anyone up from Mills up. If you're looking for that final midfield upgrade, I'd go for any of these blokes. Josh Kelly, 109 to 105. I just don't think the Giants are playing for much. They might get Clarko next year. That'd be very interesting with Josh Kelly. But, yep. Zach Merritt, I don't think he's going to be inspiring enough to get 110 plus. Ben Keys, he's just going to get a consistent ton each and every week. Paddy Cripps, 104 to 100. This is a bit no, it actually isn't. It isn't controversial. Paddy Cripps has just looked slow, lethargic compared to what he looked like at the start of the season. And our fears were that he would drop off, and it's fair to say that he's done that. So, look, I'd love to trade him out. Maybe I can at some point. I mean, I'm tossing up whether I trade out Short or Cripps in the near future. I've got a feeling I'll only be able to trade out one. I think it would have to be Short, but we'll have to see. Just depends on who I bring in and how will I get the most amount of points for the rest of the season with that trade. So, yeah, Cripps, I wouldn't go anywhere near. And if you've got it like 4 or more trades, I'd say I'd almost take the punt on letting him go. Tom Green, under 100, I think he'll score for the rest of the season, maybe a bit after. But as I said, the Giants aren't playing for too much. And these other four blokes, I mean, I don't know why they're here. But Rao, I mean, he could score 100, but I'll leave him there. I don't really care about the rest of these. Jared Lyons, and I don't know if this bloke is a Carlton fan because I've got zero idea why Adam Chera and Matt Kennedy are on the list. So there you go. So those are my predictions on what I think the orders will be for averages for the rest of the season. Not total points, averages, because obviously Tom Stewart probably won't finish as a top 8 defender from here on in, as I said, because he's going to miss another 3 games. I think. Is it another 3? I think it's another 3. Now, before I end the video, I'm just going to quickly show you guys my FPL side, early days. So I've got Sanchez in goal for Brighton. Had him last year, going to keep the faith. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson doubling up on Liverpool's defence. Perisic should play an important role in Conte's system. Tommy Asu, 4.5 Arsenal defender. Can't go wrong. I think I need a City defender down there, so I've gone Laporte. I think he's the most nailed on centre-back. So I've gone Robertson over Cancelo. I'm a bit concerned with Cancelo because I'm a bit worried that, with bringing Cucurella and all these other blokes, that I'm just worried that maybe his minutes are in a bit of trouble. Salah as captain, game week 1, it's as clear as it gets. They're playing full, and bloody hell, he'll go massive. And no World Cup, he's going to have a monstrous season, especially without Mane. James Maddison, I've gone as a bit of a pod, as we say on Supercoach, as we say on FPL, a bit of a differential. But we'll stick to Supercoach slang. So I've gone a bit of a pod in James Maddison. I think with England in the World Cup, I think he's in for a big season, and especially big early part of the season. He'll want to prove himself because he's not fully proven to be in that England squad. So I think he'll want a big part of Leicester's start to the season, and I think Leicester will be a lot better this season. Neto, he's an instant starter for Wolves since he was injured last year, but he's an instant starter, basically a new signing for them. 5.5 mil, take that all to the bank. It's a bit like Bruno last year, but I can't. I got to join the hype train. It's a bit of FOMO missing out on Haaland, so yeah, I've gone Haaland. So Man City attacker. He's just going to get all the. He's going to get beautiful crosses and passes straight from De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Foden, Gundogan. You know, it's going to be piss easy for him. And Jesus, I think it's Jesus for Arsenal. A bit risky because there could be a world where I guess there's a world where he flops early days but I think Arsenal are going to benefit a lot with the new striker. So instead of having Lacazette or as good as he was last year in Kedia. So yeah, that would be my starting 11 to start the season. Do they do? Yeah. Is this starting 11? I feel like I'm being a bit dummy. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10, 11. Yep, I'm being silly. Fulham backup goalkeeper. Oh, he might be a starting goalkeeper. Gaza Eager. Yeah, we'll go with that. Undav, I haven't got a clue who this bloke is, but I'm hearing a lot of hype. Yates, I've heard he's done a few nice things for Nottingham Forest. I feel like I'm going a bit too long about this, but Yates, 5 million. So see how we go with that. I think that's a cheap midfielder. And Andres Pereira, who just signed for Fulham, and I feel like he's just going to play every week. So 4.5 million midfielder, bargain. So there we go, guys. I didn't want to go too much further into that. I didn't know whether you guys are too big onto FPL, but I'll certainly be. I'm certainly big into it until roughly when Supercoach season goes bad. I'll just do my transfers and all. I don't really have much thought over them. So yeah, there you guys. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoy my video. As I said with FPL, make sure you check out Eno instead for proper advice, and came second in the world in Australia, second in Australia on FPL, and that's just bonkers. So make sure you check him out. I probably won't upload videos of FPL. You know, it's just a bit of a side thing that I do. So yeah, hope you guys have a good week, and I will see you in the round 17 review. Cheers.